Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Should You Play, where I show you some spoiler-free gameplay and give you my thoughts after playing new games for a few hours, while also highlighting and checking out at least one of the PlayStation Plus games for each month. In this video I'm playing Assassin's Creed Shadows, the latest game in the franchise that finally delivers the Japanese setting fans have been begging to see for nearly 20 years. I talked a bit about it in my review of Black Flag, but I'm relatively new to the Assassin's Creed franchise. I played Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood a few years back, and I've put a few hours into Origins, but for one reason or another, it just took me a while to get into them. That said, I know a lot of people have been looking forward to this game, and I'm happy to say that the game mostly succeeds in what it set out to do, so let's talk about it.
So let us go.
Assassin's Creed Shadows takes place in 16th century Japan during the end of the Sengoku period and follows two playable protagonists, Naoe, who is a shinobi trained in the art of stealth, and Yasuke, a samurai who served under Lord Nobunaga.
My one-man army.
Beyond that basic premise, it veers a bit into spoiler territory for the prologue, so I won't elaborate any further than that, but know that you'll actually be in the prologue for a good amount of time, and it's gonna feel quite slow as it's almost entirely tutorial sequences and overly long cutscenes.
Who am I to resist?
That's not to say that the sequences are bad though, just that a few overstay their welcome as you try to break free from the tutorial phase. But when the game does finally open up, it becomes much more engaging. The modern day storyline with the Animus is still technically present as well, showing you traces of it during loading screens and some other minor sections of the game, but for the most part you'll be spending all of your time in Japan as the Assassin's Creed games seem to be continually moving away from that aspect of the franchise.
Anything else?
As for the voice acting, it's fine. To make my life easier while editing, I played the first few hours in English, but it's really hit or miss, with some of the voice actors delivering what are honestly Oscar-worthy performances, while others are a lot less convincing.
Nonsense.
Fortunately, the Portuguese and Japanese voice acting are both really well done though, so if you're the type of player who can read subtitles at the same time as hunting down a target, then I'd just recommend doing that. When it comes to the base gameplay, Shadows doesn't really have any surprises, offering the same familiar Assassin's Creed combat, exploration, and mission types, and it reminds me a lot of Black Flag's gameplay, setting up stories and guiding you to areas, but not forcing you to jump from mission to mission.
I'll have to trust you.
On the topic of the missions, there's a great variety, and some of the more annoying types have been done away with and replaced with more combat, stealth, and dialogue-related tasks. Navigation is also very clear, despite some of the mission objectives being intentionally vague, and waypoints and waypaths will help you find your way through Japan's forests, fields, and cities. The climbing and movement mechanics feel very good as well, never making you feel like you've been magnetized to a certain pathway while trying to make small adjustments, and there are plenty of places to climb up to or to sneak under during the more stealth-specific sections. When you're not actively going on missions, exploration is highly encouraged. You have access to a horse to go longer distances, and it's almost as capable as the Skyrim horses that let you scale vertical cliffs. However, navigating dense forests is a bit of a different story. There's also plenty of side content throughout the world to collect and complete, though as with most of the previous Assassin's Creed titles, they can tend to get repetitive, and if you need to take a breath, you have access to a hideout which will act as your home base, letting you customize buildings, upgrade equipment, send out scouts, and even adopt pets.
You're a friendly thing.
My only gripe with the gameplay itself is that Yasuke really isn't playable until a crucial moment about 5 or 6 hours into the story, and when I finally got access to him, I was so used to playing as Naoe with all of her movement abilities that I didn't really feel like playing as him. Concerning combat in Shadows, it differs between the two main characters, but it's both simple and methodical, giving you access to a light attack, heavy attack, block, parry, and a few other brutal moves. Naoe's gameplay is what you could say is the classic Assassin's Creed experience, as she's more focused on movement, stealth, speed, and using her environment to her advantage, while Yasuke is really more of a hard-hitting tank that takes enemies head-on and can break down strong barriers.
Stay still.
He's still capable of stealth as a character, but he's nowhere near as effective as Naoe is since he doesn't have access to many of her skills. Both characters also have control of their own skill trees and gear, and you can switch between them by fast traveling or by going back to the hideout. Neither character feels especially revolutionary to play as, but they get the job done, and having access to two different styles of stealth and combat is a nice option to have, even if it does take you a bit to learn both characters.
I'll need to choose wisely.
Enemy behavior is pretty decent as well. They're not going to chase you to the ends of the earth like in some of the other games, but they're also not going to give up on trying to kill you just because you jumped out of sight to a nearby rooftop. It's a well done and realistic balance that's pretty appreciated, especially after my experience with some of the less intelligent enemies in Black Flag.
They've been causing you trouble?
Visually, Shadows is probably the best looking Assassin's Creed game to date. Character faces can be a bit off, even in quality mode, but the main characters look noticeably better than regular NPCs, and the attention to detail everywhere else is pretty impressive, to the point where, especially in photo mode, you can see intense details on the smaller objects like butterfly wings. The environment is the real winner here though, as the Japanese landscape is beautiful and pretty densely populated. Plus, with the weather and seasons constantly changing, even familiar areas are given regular makeovers. As far as the game's performance goes, I'm happy to say there aren't any major issues at launch. No bugs, glitches, or crashes to report, the game loads quickly, and aside from the occasional instance of clipping or texture popping, there's nothing of note to mention here.
That is correct.
I did have one funny moment where a boss got stuck on a paper lantern and wasn't able to do anything but run in place, but all it took for me to resolve that was to swing my sword at them first. If you do find yourself having issues with how the game is running, you can always switch back to performance mode, but on my PS5, I didn't have any reason to.
This is very good.
Yes, it is.
If you're one of the people who have been waiting for an Assassin's Creed game set in Japan, Shadows mostly delivers.
Are you sure?
The stealth mechanics, dual protagonists, and beautifully immersive world make it a strong entry in the series, and the return to a more methodical combat system is a nice change of pace. That said, the game does start off a bit slow, the side content is still mostly repetitive, and I think it was a mistake not making Yasuke playable for a good chunk of the start of the game.
You have made your choice then.
If you enjoyed Black Flag or really any of the other Assassin's Creed games, you'll probably enjoy this one too, but beyond that, it's just a solid title. I haven't gotten around to playing Odyssey or Valhalla, and I'm still in the early stages of Origins, but I think Shadows has done enough to top the list of my favorite Assassin's Creed games, even if it's not one of my favorite video games overall.
I mean, no disrespect.
As always though, this is just my opinion. Whether you're playing as Naoe and taking out your targets silently, or you're playing as Yasuke and cutting them down with raw strength, let me know in the comments what you think of Assassin's Creed Shadows.
I am still learning and would welcome further instruction.
Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.